What's going on, everybody? Mark Farzy here from the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. And as always, coming to you from the Steven Singer Studios. Oh, man, what a show we have for you today. Very excited. If you've been following on social media, you saw that I announced Garrett Stubbs, Phillies catcher, joins the show today. We talk about everything with Garrett Stubbs, including Bryce Harper, what this means for the team going forward, whether or not there was some kind of team meeting as to what needs to happen next for this ball club. We talked about the approach that Rob Thompson takes versus Joe Girardi, why this team has turned it around, why this team is all of a sudden looking like a team that can make the playoffs more so than they did last year, that's for sure. And also, we, of course, talk about his walk-up music. As you guys know, I'm a huge Sinatra fan. I got to know why he walks up to That's Life by Frank Sinatra. And he goes into detail, let's just say. Garrett Stubbs seems like a great guy, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview. We'll be playing for you a little bit later today. Here's what else we got. Kyrie Irving going back to the Brooklyn Nets. He decides to opt into his $36.5 million deal. So at least right now, it looks like Ben Simmons will not be going to Brooklyn and playing with nobody. He will still at least have Kyrie Irving and most likely now Kevin Durant staying there as well. So that very famous Fresh Prince of Bel-Air scene with Will Smith standing in the middle of the room after everybody moved out, looking around to see where everybody is and being alone. It will not apply, unfortunately, to Ben Simmons. He'll have more than his great big bag of karma playing with him in Brooklyn, much to my chagrin. We also go get a little bit more in depth as to this Philly series and what exactly it means, because the next 3 days, including today, Tuesday, are the biggest days of the Phillies season. You learn what's going to happen with Bryce Harper today. The reports are out there from Philadelphia Inquirer. Todd Zlecki of MLB.com also pointed it out, that really pretty much what we already knew, that Bryce Harper is going to need surgery to repair his thumb, just as fate would have it this season for the Phillies. We're also going to learn what the Phillies are made of without Bryce Harper in a tough divisional series against the Atlanta Braves. Earlier in the season, they faced the Braves in Atlanta for a 4-game series. The Phillies bookended that 4-game series with victories, winning the first and fourth game in that series. And hopefully the Phillies will at least be able to take 2 of 3 from the Braves coming up starting tonight at 7:05 against the Bravos. This is a huge, pivotal point in the season for the Phils. When you play these divisional games, as we've talked about many times, and as Rob Thompson pointed out, before they played the Miami Marlins just a couple of weeks ago now, and before they went into D.C. for a 5-game series with the Washington Nationals, and of course, before they played those other games against the Texas Rangers, but when they played those games in the division, Rob Thompson said, you gotta win the games in the division. These are the measuring stick type games. When push comes to shove in September and you're really fighting and you're really battling it out for playoff positioning later in the season, these are, of course, the games that it all comes down to. So whether or not you're playing in June, the end of June, whether or not you're playing in September, the games all count the same. The whole trick is to be in the best possible position come September, so that not just you give meaningful games to fans about possibly making the playoffs, but you could also solidify your spot as a playoff team. Now, the tail of the tape right now, Phillies come in 8 games out of first place to this series. The Braves come in 5 games out of first place behind the New York Metropolitans. Now, when it comes to the wild card, which is the much more likely scenario considering how the Mets have been playing, the wild card standings are as such. The Braves are 1 game in the second wild card spot, with the Phillies trailing 2 games behind them. And as fate would have it, you have 2 teams behind the Braves and in front of the Phillies. They are separated by the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Phillies got a series coming up with them as well, and the San Francisco Giants. That's the tail of the tape. In this series, you're going to be putting, hopefully, your best foot forward with Zach Wheeler tonight taking on Charlie Morton. Then you got Suarez taking on Wright. You got Nola taking on Anderson in the final game of this series and the final game of the month of June. That's the only game, by the way, that's a 6:05 start time. All the other games, 7:05 start times this week. It is a huge 3 days for the Phillies. It's a huge 6 days for the Phillies when you look at the standings and when you look at the schedule. Because after this, it starts with the Braves, goes to St. Louis, or St. Louis comes to Philadelphia. You host the Nationals, 3 wins, hopefully. And then You go to St. Louis for a 4-game series, and that just starts off a long road trip that takes you from July 9th, July 8th, by the way, to July 7th. And that'll conclude the first unofficial half of the Phillies season. It's been a huge couple of games, to say the least, about the Phillies. What did we say about the Marlins series? It's a prove-it series. Prove you're not one of the lower-rung teams in the division. Prove that, please. Finally beat that Marlins team in a series. Then it also went on to a prove-it type of situation against the Washington Nationals. Go ahead, please win that series. Win. If they win 3 games, good. If they win 4 games, grand. That's what they should do against a bottom team. They take 4 or 5. Then the interleague play bites the Phillies in the old behind again against the Texas Rangers. And then they surprise us by taking 4 or 5. 3 or 4 from the San Diego Padres. Not a lot of people were too optimistic about this. For a schedule that was supposed to get easier, other than that Padres series, it pretty much did. But those divisional games, as we all know, you never know what's going to come out of those games. You can never feel confident, especially when you take on a team like the Marlins. We're in a similar situation right now, and it's without Bryce Harper. So this is when it really starts up for the whole idea of who is going to be that next man up after Bryce Harper is out. You guys know from listening to me yesterday, when I did the hit with Fox yesterday, the number one person I'm looking at is Nick Castellanos. That's the guy that has to step up. I went into detail about his numbers last year, what he was able to do, how this year he's on pace for only 15 home runs. Are you kidding me? The Phillies aren't going to make the playoffs if Nick Castellanos plays the way that he has been playing. I feel like it's going to fluctuate. The phrase I used yesterday, it's going to be hero by committee, but the number one guy I'm looking at is Castellanos. Go out there and prove that whole idea that you're the only guy being worth going over to luxury tax. Prove that for us, please. But now it's life after Harper. Phillies are going to be lucky to get Bryce Harper back this season. They're going to be lucky to get him back if they're making a playoff push. Phillies are going to be lucky to do that. It's going to start with Castellanos. It's going to put a lot of eyes on Kyle Schwarber to see how he can continue his hot season, his hot June, hopefully carry that into July. You're also going to be looking at other guys on this baseball team to see how they progress as the season goes on. Who else can step up? It's going to come down to the arms in this rotation. Basically, everyone's got to be clicking on all cylinders. Hero by committee is what the Phillies are going to have to do. And it's not an easy task right now. That easy schedule that we talked about, it's kicked in a little bit, but having games of great playoff contention, great playoff meaning, implications here, when you talk about this 3-game series with the Braves, then welcoming the Cardinals, then going on to face the Nationals, and hopefully those are the easy ones, right? That's the way it works out, hopefully. And then that long road trip to end the first half of the season is going to be a tough run for the Phils. 7 games in total against the Cardinals, 3 games against the Braves. These are games against playoff teams. As of right now, these are against teams like yourself that aren't missing their superstar, like you are with Bryce Harper, that are going to be pushing for at least a wild card spot to make it into the postseason. It may be the end of the first half of the season, but when you think about it, it's really the beginning of the end of the season for the Phillies, because they could really write their destiny right now in the next couple of weeks leading up to the All-Star break. And it all starts tonight. It all starts really right before the game, because you're most likely going to have Dave Dombrowski out there addressing the media, talking about what's to come of Bryce Harper and the rest of his season, when he'll have the surgery, how long he's expected to be out. Talking yesterday with Evan Macy, he's of the Philly Voice. Hopefully that this means Bryce Harper will be back come to be September, when the Phillies are really making that push. And hopefully when he comes back, that elbow will be fine too. So maybe they could use somebody else in the DH role, and we don't have to watch Nick Castellanos try to shag flies in right field anymore. That'd be nice. They got a whole lot better. But it all starts today. Little press conference before the game. Then hopefully Phillies go out there and win. Hopefully Zach Wheeler goes out there and absolutely dominates in this game against the Braves tonight. So hopefully the Phillies get it started off on the right foot tonight. Like I mentioned, Garrett Stubbs will be joining the show coming up in just a minute, and I'm really excited to hear this interview for you. He was just a lot of fun to talk to. Really good guy, an absolute pleasure. And we were supposed to talk yesterday at 11 a.m., and I remember thinking, Phillies are on the West Coast. This is going to be tough. He's probably didn't get back till like 3 or 4 in the morning. Probably didn't walk in the door at his apartment or house, whatever, until like 5 a.m. Like that's not good for anybody. So I thought 11 a.m. was bold, but they agreed. And then we ended up pushing it back to a little bit later in the day. But bottom line is, it came on, and one of the things that really wowed me, just to tease this for a second, all the things we thought about Joe Girardi versus Rob Thompson and the change that took place there, for the most part, were true. A manager, they say, is responsible for like 5 to 8 wins or losses a season. Like they get you those 5 to 8 wins, whatever it might be. But I think that is a lazy narrative that people roll out. And I really give him credit. Dave Dombrowski, the president of the team, really put it out there well when he said a manager is responsible for the overall tempo of the team, meaning the overall mindset, the attitude, the atmosphere in the clubhouse. And whatever it is that Rob Thompson's doing, it works a lot better for this ball club. And without Bryce Harper in this lineup, as I said, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to find out how good this team really is and whether or not we can still look forward to them playing meaningful games in September. And when it comes to this ball club, a lot of that atmosphere, a lot of that attitude comes from their interim skipper, Rob Thompson, Topper, as he's become known throughout his career. And Garrett Stubbs gives us a great insight as to the mindset, atmosphere, and overall attitude that Rob Thompson helps inspire in this clubhouse. And that is the most comforting thing of all of it. And we'll hear from Garrett Stubbs in just a second. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Ben Simmons will not be alone in Brooklyn. Now at least Kyrie Irving will be there. And if you haven't seen this, it's something. I'll read this to you out loud here for the fine class. Here you go. Shams Charania, all right, puts it out there that the Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving is opting into his $37 million option for the upcoming season. He bypasses multiple opt-in and trade scenarios to fulfill his 4-year commitment to the Nets. Just to sum that up real quick, nobody wanted him. The Lakers, who at least were willing to kick the tires, were not willing to pay a king's ransom for him, and the Nets only wanted a king's ransom for him because they knew they could offer him the most money. They knew it was basically the best scenario for them by far to keep Kyrie and actually see if these guys can play more than 50 games together, is it? 57 games together. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. In 3 seasons. Including the playoffs. Oh, this is great. Now, did Shams Charania stop there? Oh, no. It gets better. It gets better. Kyrie Irving, quote, "Normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall." Kyrie Irving, philosopher. I've never been more disappointed for a team to keep 2 of their stars together, because I am rooting so hard against Ben Simmons that I would really enjoy the idea of him leaving a toxic working environment like Philadelphia to then go to Brooklyn, have one guy with his foot out the door pretty much the whole season already, another guy waiting to see whether or not that second foot leaves another guy. This is Kevin Durant, obviously looking at Kyrie Irving. He then decides to stay because no one's willing to pay for him, essentially, in terms of assets, picks, players, that whole thing with the Lakers and all that. And then Kevin Durant just being like, well, I guess I'll stay now. But nothing would have brought me more joy than for Ben Simmons to have to be the scorer on that team. Just the joy I would have had to watch the rest of the NBA, watch that clown show that would have been taking place in Brooklyn. But now it's still going to be all about KD. It's still going to be all about Kyrie. And then Ben Simmons will be a big part of it as well. And we'll see what happens in the upcoming season. But I was really hoping that you would have that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meme coming to fruition. Or maybe even the John Travolta where he walks in the room and that's where he's just kind of looking for people and there's nobody there. That's all those memes applied. All those GIFs, I should say, applied. And now they don't, unfortunately. Still a long off season, but now at least you know Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving will be playing together, and we'll see how that works out. That ought to be joyous. Still probably not going to be that great. But anyway, so that drama's over. Forget about any trades to the Sixers. Forget about anything like that. It's all staying put right now. And I saw this on Twitter right before the show about some guys being available. Like Kyrie was supposedly, going to be available there, and the Sixers didn't want to pay the King's ransom either, or Kyrie really the last on his list, if you will, to come to Philadelphia. Then the other part of it is this. The other part of it is Kevin Durant then, the fallout. Where would he go after that? What would you be willing to part ways with here in Philadelphia to get Kevin Durant to Philly? And then also Bradley Beal being available possibly in this offseason, and Zach LaVine possibly being dangled out there in trade rumors, whatever that might be. All these other things coming to fruition, or at least being out there dangled, and the Sixers are focused on PJ Tucker. I feel like that's a good point. Because I got to be honest, to just look at ourselves for a second here and not point and laugh at what could have happened in Brooklyn, I don't feel great about the Sixers' odds going forward in terms of winning a championship. Like, I don't feel that great in terms of the Sixers making it out of the second round of the playoffs. I'll be rooting for it. I'll be watching the regular season, see how it all comes together, see if they make that one more big acquisition or if they're going to stand pat. And I mean a big acquisition far beyond PJ Tucker. And I like PJ Tucker. I've said that. If it's a 3-year deal, then yeah, as sources have been reporting, as people have been crediting sources saying that the Sixers are still in pursuit of PJ Tucker on a 3-year deal, $30 million. I would hope it's closer to a 2-year deal with an option for a 3rd year. I think that would be the smarter play for the Sixers. You're talking about a guy that by the end of that deal will be 40 years old. It's $10 million. I look at it as the Sixers have to realize that this window is half closed. And if it's not half closed, it's more like 3/4 closed. It feels like the window is becoming more and more cracked than open as this goes on. And I got to say, going into this year, I'm not eternally optimistic. No matter how many workout videos I see of James Harden looking svelte, I'm not eternally optimistic that this team is 1,000 times better or will be 1,000 times better than what we watched last year. It's all going to come down to Joel Embiid. He's the star. He's the MVP candidate. It's all going to come down to him. I think you know what you're going to get from him those upcoming season. Other than looking at the guy on the court that's supposed to be the star of the show, it is the star of the show as far as I'm concerned. You're looking at Tyrese Maxey taking that big step forward, as we've talked about many times, and you're looking to see what else Daryl Morey could do. But in an offseason where you could have had 3 to 4 guys that could really change the outlook for your team available, a lot more work needs to be done. Because in order for me to feel better, just selfishly, and putting the Sixers at the center of our universe, in order for me to feel better about this team making out of the second round of the playoffs, I at least have to look at this team and go, is this team better than the team that got bounced out by the quadruple doink with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto? Because I still look at the Jimmy Butler Sixers as the best brand of basketball I have seen from the Sixers. Has Joel Embiid gotten a lot better since that game? Certainly. But has the entire team around him gotten that much better? No, not at all. Harden, when he first came here, and you watch 5-6 games of him playing with Embiid and learning to play with Maxey and Doc Rivers figuring out the rotation, it was still pretty damn good. But I got to watch this team perform in the playoffs. It's going to feel like, as I have said at this point, it's going to feel like it's 82 games of a preseason before the playoffs even start next year. Or I should say, this upcoming season. It's going to feel like 82 games of an exhibition before the real series. Because all we want to know is whether or not this Sixers team is going to make it out of the playoffs. Like, it's not, like, basketball will never be at the level hockey is. And, you know, I love hockey, and it's great. But hockey, a lot of times, especially for Flyers fans, the casual fan, if you will, as it has become known, especially growing up, a lot of people didn't watch the 82 game season for the Flyers. They just like, call me when they're in the playoffs. That's kind of how it feels right now for the Sixers. Not that they'll ever lose interest and we won't watch every game and all that. Obviously, we will. But when it comes to the Sixers team for the upcoming season, right now with the way it's constructed, it just feels like, all right, just call me when the playoffs. We know they're going to be a playoff team. We know they'll be a top 5 team at the worst in the Eastern Conference. Let me know when they're in the playoffs. Let's see how they do, because it's all about making it to an Eastern Conference final. It's all about winning a championship. That's like the bottom line is making it to an Eastern Conference finals. That's what it's all about in the upcoming season. Anything after that, great. And, of course, it'll all be judged differently when we actually see it finally end. But when it comes to this upcoming season, it's all about, make it through the 82 games, make the playoffs, be a top 5 team. Hell, be a 1 seed again. I don't know, whatever, fine. But it doesn't even matter what seed you are as long as you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Take that step forward finally. And then give us a parade. Hopefully right after that. That'd be nice too. That's the outlook on the Sixers right now. With all the Twitter buzz in the NBA yesterday, that's where we're at right now. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about Destination Retirement. DestinationRetirement.com. My man, Mike Seibert. Mike Seibert is a retirement income certified professional at Destination Retirement LLC and a partner of 1847 Financial and an advisor for Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies fans only. Maybe next year with Torts, the Flyers as well. When it comes to long-term savings, why are you giving up the current enjoyment of your income? The answer is to have income streams in retirement. It only makes sense then to understand how retirement income streams work so that it can direct savings in ways that give you the highest income when you retire. It's like climbing a mountain. Do you just go up the mountain and that's it? No, you got to get safely back down the mountain. Going up the mountain, your accumulation phase. Down the mountain, your distribution phase. Those are the two different phases of your financial life. Let's talk about for a minute college planning. No, college is expensive. Have you ever thought about how it will affect your retirement? Let Mike show you an efficient way to help pay for your kids' college education and still retire on your own terms. Your first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose your position on your growth cycle and have to start over. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up with the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over again. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your college savings can help your annual retirement savings. Michael will set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help you navigate through the different phases of your financial life. So do what I do. Call Mike Seibert at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. Or you can also email him at gobirds at 1847financial.com. That's gobirds at 1847financial.com. You can also visit his website at destinationretirement.com. And as always, go Birds. And let's go Phillies. Please win this against the Braves. Let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, online at IHateStevenSinger.com. The man has been in the love business in Philadelphia for over 40 years. And now he's showing you the ultimate sign of love by giving you the perfect price every day at Steven Singer Jewelers. Other jewelers, you know what they like to do? Price gouge. That's what they like to do. Steven Singer? No. You walk in, you know you're getting the perfect price. Other jewelers you walk into, you think, I got to negotiate, I got to haggle, I got to get the best deal. The best deal is already there for the taking at Steven Singer with the perfect price guarantee. And on top of that, you're going to get treated like family at Steven Singer Jewelers every single time you walk into the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Steven Singer Jewelers has Ready for Love diamond engagement rings standing by at the ready. So it's not just a clever name. And a real jewelry expert will walk you through all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory at Steven Singer Jewelers. So do what I do. When it comes to all your jewelry purchases, go to the man that I send my friends, family, and you, of course, to. And that's Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Every day online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Talk to our guest today from your Philadelphia Phillies, newcomer, Garrett Stubbs. The Rothman Orthopedics guest line. It is my great honor to have a current member of the Philadelphia Phillies, catcher extraordinaire, Garrett Stubbs, joining us. What's up, Garrett?
How we doing, Mark? Doing well.
Awesome. We appreciate you coming on. First off, congratulations on the success out there in San Diego. Got to take 3 of 4 from the Padres in front of your family. How great was that?
Pretty fun. Very hectic weekend with all of the family and friends coming to the game. But the love and support from everybody it felt amazing. It was great to see everybody. Going back to San Diego is always a blessing for me.
That's great, man. It certainly seemed like everyone was having a good time and come up with the big base knock as well, driving some runs. That was pretty awesome. It seemed like you guys in the Nolas were just trying to have a little family reunion out there.
Yeah, watching Noli pitch to his brother, I wasn't behind the plate, but from the bench, I got to imagine that was a pretty cool feeling. I got a younger brother who's in the Houston Astros organization. So while I'm not a pitcher and he's not a pitcher, so we won't have that matchup, to be either playing on the same team or playing against each other one day is definitely a dream of ours.
I'm sure. Is it true that your father actually started a travel baseball team? Like there was Little League where you were growing up, but there wasn't like a travel baseball team and your father started one?
Yeah, I mean, so travel baseball in general when I was growing up wasn't really a thing yet. It wasn't one of the places where you got seen, or it was mostly Little League. You know, if you wanted to play organized baseball, you were playing Little League, at least in my area. So my dad, while he saw other places getting these travel baseball teams, decided that we needed one for ourselves. So we started the Del Mar Powerhouse that we started when we were about 8 or 9 years old. And basically from there, we took the one team when we were 8 or 9 years old, then moved on. We were 10, 11, 12, 13. And as the years progressed, it became, there was a 10-year-old team, there was a 10 and 9-year-old team, there was an 11, 10 and 9-year-old team. And so we were always the oldest team. And then it basically filled in from behind us. So he started that when we were 8 years old, and it's still around today. I go back there to San Diego, Del Mar area, and they're there.
All right, any prospects out there? Anybody Dave Dombrowski should be looking at?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but if there is somebody out there, I'm sure Dave knows about them.
Okay, there you go. I do have to ask this question because, again, 3 of 4 is great. Taking that from the Padres and the recent success of the Phillies since a major change has been awesome. But it looks like you guys are going to be without Bryce Harper, the reigning NL MVP, for quite some time. What was the reaction in the clubhouse to seeing Bryce get hit, and then also knowing that there is a fracture there and you're going to be missing him for a lot of time here?
Definitely frustrating. Super frustrating for Bryce. Having an incredible year is, I mean, it's hard to expect the numbers that he's been putting up, but, you know, a player like that, to see him go out there and play every single day, you know, I can't imagine watching it from anybody else, and see him go down like that. You knew when he got hit, it was pretty bad. The guy does not come out of the game for just anything. So him going into the locker room in that situation, knew it probably wasn't very good. And then to hear that he fractured his finger, definitely a punch to the gut for the whole team. But I know that Bryce feels this way, and so does the rest of the team, that you're not going to have all 26 guys on the roster healthy all year long. And so, you know, we got Mickey Moniak that just got called up, and we expect him to fill a position. And I know he expects himself to be able to get put in these situations and perform. So while you cannot replace Bryce Harper, everyone is still looking forward and knowing that we're going to do everything we can to keep winning ball games.
Is that kind of the vibe of the locker room now? Is that kind of the vibe of the clubhouse where people just, there's an understanding, like Rob Thompson doesn't need to say anything. Some of the more veteran guys like a Kyle Schwarber or Rhys Hoskins or Nick Castellanos, do they have to say anything, or is it kind of understood that, hey guys, it's just about everybody else stepping up now?
Yeah, no, not at all. Nobody, no team meeting, no nothing like that. Everyone understands the kind of player that Bryce Harper is, and you cannot replace that. But at the same time, we're out there ready to win ball games, and we have a lot of really good players on that field still. So Mickey's going to come in and do his thing, and we're going to keep winning ball games. That's the expectation in the locker room and for our fans too. So that's the plan going forward.
Fans certainly enjoy the Phillies winning and winning a lot of ball games.
So do we.
I'm sure. When it comes to moving on from Joe Girardi, my take on it wasn't that it was like Joe Girardi didn't know what he was doing, or he was some terrible baseball guy or something like that. It was more along the lines, it felt like there wasn't the right fit there with this clubhouse and Joe Girardi for whatever reason. Is there a change? Is there a big change in Rob Thompson taking things over? Do you guys have more say as players? What is it like right now? What was that transition like going from Girardi to Thompson?
Everyone loved Joe Girardi. I don't think anybody in our locker room has or could say anything bad about the guy. We liked him as a manager. We liked him as a person. He was great. I think Rob Thompson, coming in to fill the new role, has a different vibe and energy to him, good or bad. Obviously, we've been winning more ball games, so everything seems great, and everyone loves Top. I mean, when he was under Joe Girardi, that's why Joe had him as his bench coach. They've had a long history together with the Yankees and now with the Phillies. And I know Joe's watching the games and is probably really proud of Top. They have a great relationship. So there's no bad blood between the separation between the two of them. And now being able to have Top up at the helm has been awesome. I think everyone loves playing for him. I think he brings an energy that everyone is a little bit grittier out there on the field. There's a little bit of an FU mentality while we play. And the energy in the dugout has, I think people see it on camera. And I know we feel it day in and day out that we understand that there's a lot of really good baseball players on the field when the Phillies are playing. And there's an expectation to win. And so the energy and that expectation basically comes out when we're playing on all those ball games. So it's been a lot of fun. And having Topper there at the top, man, it's good playing for that guy.
Yeah. What is it about? Like, we only see him really in the press conferences and all that, and then occasionally in the dugout when he's getting upset about balls and strikes, maybe, whatever it might be. But what is it about his personality that kind of translates to you guys the best? Is it that FU mentality? What is it exactly that hits you guys the best?
I think a part of it is, like you said, you might see some reactions out of him about balls and strikes, but he is a very even-keeled person. Big situation, tight game, blowout. He really just walks that line and does not ride the roller coaster. I like calling riding the wave. And that feels good as players. We're going to go like this all year long as far as statistics and things like that. You're going to have a game where you strike out a whole bunch. You're going to have a game where you go 4 for 4. And to be able to ride the wave instead of the roller coaster is huge. And when the guy at the top rides that wave all the time, it makes it easier for us players to feel calm in certain situations and know that he's got our back at all times. And that FU mentality that he's got, I think it does translate into the players a little bit. I think there's, it's not a Mr. Nice Guy mentality. It's a, hey, today, while we might have friends across the field, because we all know each other across the league, a lot of us played with each other or grew up playing against each other, whatever it may be. But when we're out, on the diamond, it becomes a different ball game, and there's no friends between the lines as far as the other team when you're trying to win and there's competition. So like you saw with the Nola brothers, I even made a joke about it to Austin before the game the other day was, Austin walked out to home plate and kind of gave a nod out to Aaron, and Aaron just kind of gave him a very slight, I don't even know you kind of head nod to him. And that, that's awesome to me, going and watching Aaron kind of go after his brother and knowing like, hey, this is a dream and everyone's excited to watch us, but I'm trying to get you out right now. So
that's great.
It's cool stuff.
That's awesome. One of the things Rob Thompson said that I really liked was after your pitching, was it your pitching debut? Was that the first time you had ever pitched? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They asked him about it after the game, and he said, yeah, I was kind of looking at guys on the bench that might want to go in, and Stubbs was like, yeah, I'll do it. And Rob Thompson's like, he's a ball player. He's got it. He knows what to do. What was that exchange like? Did it go down just like that?
Essentially, yeah. He basically came up to me and asked me if I'd ever pitched before, and I said no. And he goes, well, would you feel comfortable doing it? And I said, hell yeah. So the exchange was basically him thinking, I think that he could go out there and throw strikes essentially, in a position player going out there and pitching. There's not an expectation of getting outs really, other than, hey, have him put it in play. Odds are you're going to get 3 outs eventually. And he felt like I was the guy to be able to do that. I got 3-0 on one guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I better not walk him. Ended up hitting a homer, but better than a walk. So, yeah, the exchange was essentially that. And so I got to have my pitching debut, which was fun.
Good talk. Go warm up. There you go.
Exactly.
Now, this is another moment I got to ask you about. You've made it your Twitter avatar. For people that don't follow you yet on Twitter, make sure you follow Garrett Stubbs, at Garrett Stubbs. Right there, you can see it. The profile picture is shortly after your walk-off home run against the Marlins that people were just losing their minds for, my friend. Yeah. You come to Philadelphia. You were an 8th-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, of the Astros. You come to Philadelphia, your first Major League home run, and then you walk one off. It's been a busy year for you already.
Wild. Yeah, you talk about people losing their minds about it. I lost my mind when I did it. So I've had never hit a major league home run until maybe 2 weeks prior to that, or whatever the timeline was, and then to come up in a situation like that, I was not trying to hit a homer. I was trying to get Schwarber up to the plate so that he could hit a homer, and I got a good pitch to hit and put it over the fence in a huge spot, and basically all my emotions came out of me. I did not expect myself to do that. I don't think anybody expected me to do that. And so to be able to have that kind of success in a moment like that, all the emotions possible came out of me. And that was my genuine reaction after being able to have the Phils get a win late in the game.
The bat spike, is that something that you've done before? Is that something that you've always done? That's just what happened?
I haven't hit very many homers in my life, and I have never watched any of them in my entire career. In that moment, I knew that I got it, and I felt like I wanted to enjoy it and look to the dugout and watching everybody go nuts. We all went nuts together. And the bat spike, I don't know where that came from, but watching back on it, I love it, man. It was a fun reaction, a good moment for Philly, a good moment for me personally, and a huge win for us against Miami, another division team. And people write them off thinking that they're not a good team, but that is a very good Miami Marlins team over there, playing in a very good NL East division. So to be able to beat them in that moment was huge.
Speaking of divisional opponents, the Braves are coming to town for a 3-game series. This is after you guys took 4 of 5 from the Washington Nationals in a 5-game series, obviously. After you took 2 or 3 from the Marlins, finally got that monkey, or that fish rather, off your back, at least it's for this ball club as a whole. How big is this series? How pivotal is this series against the Atlanta Braves coming up?
Yeah, I think it's just as big as any other one. We go out there every time, every game, whether it's a National League team, American League team, in-division team, and try to win a series. You're not going to necessarily win every game, sweep a team, but we're looking for series wins. And so to be able to go do that up in Washington, we swept a doubleheader, which is, man, that is tough to do. And go take 4 out of 5 when we're playing 5 in 4 days, huge. To go do a 3 out of 4 series and take that from San Diego, a really, really good team at their place, huge. So we got Atlanta coming this week. We're going to prepare the same way we do for every team and look for that series win. And that's what we're hoping for.
Mm-hmm. When you were with the Astros, I know there was a lot of people there catching prospects, a lot of people to battle for. You come to Philadelphia, a battle for that backup spot, so to speak. You come to Philadelphia, JT Realmuto is here, but you're the guy right behind him. What is it like being, a catcher on this team with a guy like JT Realmuto?
It's awesome. I think I have the best job in the big leagues. Obviously, everyone wants to start. Everyone wants to play every day. But to be able to back up in my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people, is the best catcher in the big leagues, it's fun. It's awesome. I get to learn from the number one guy in all of baseball and watch him do his thing every day, handle the staff, catch behind the plate, throw guys out unlike anybody I've ever seen before. So for me to be able to back up JT coming in here and knowing that I was just going to get an opportunity to fight for that spot was enough for me out in spring training. I didn't really get that opportunity over with Houston. So to be able to fight for that backup spot was huge. And then to be able to get it and be able to capitalize on some of these opportunities that I've been getting. Like I said, to be able to back up the best catcher in the league, that's an awesome job.
You certainly did it against the Marlins. Bryce and Stott has had his moment in the sun, so hopefully that keeps on coming. Matt Vierling has had some big hits for this team as well. And you, like I mentioned, what does it mean, especially in a moment like this where you might not have Bryce Harper for an extended period, well, you won't have Bryce Harper for an extended period of time. What is it like to know as a team that it's almost like anybody could go out there and play the role of the hero?
Yeah, I mean, that makes a complete ball club, right? I think there was a stat that I saw, something about the 1900s and a 9-hole hitter walk-off homer for the first time in however long. Topper came up to me and told me that stat. I think it was the next day or the day after, and he said that was the first time it's done in however many years. And I was like, well, that's a sign of a complete good ball club, and I think that's what we have, 1 through 9. There's really no breaks in the lineup. Even if you've never heard of a Bryce and Stott or a Matt Vierling or a Garrett Stubbs, these are good players that have put up numbers in the minor leagues and can take a good at bat. And so, everyone knows those big names that are up at the top, but the names that they might not have seen in the last however many years, maybe they're going to know about those names here pretty soon. And so, I think that we all feel like no matter who's at the plate, we've got a shot at winning the ball game, whether we're down by however many runs. I think that everyone feels that guy's going to pass the baton to the next guy, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And like I said, when I was up in that one situation, I was trying to get Schwarber to the plate, and it just so happened that the game ended in that at bat. But everyone's just trying to get the next guy up because everyone feels like no matter who's hitting, we got a shot.
You mentioned some of the guys you've caught on this team. A lot of us in the fan base are looking at Sir Anthony Dominguez and thinking if they're going to get another closer, if they're going to be a guy that they can rely on in that 9th inning, it seems like it's Sir Anthony Dominguez. I think you can't deny physically the stuff that he has, but we all know a closer's role is more about the mental aspect of it, the guy that's going to slam the door close. From what you know, what you've caught from Sir Anthony Dominguez, does he seem like a guy that will grow into that closer's role at some point in his career?
I think he's got the stuff. I think he's got the mentality. I think he's got it all to be the closer. As far as what the organization would do, I have no idea what the decisions will be made up top or with who will fill that role. I know we're going by committee right now. Sir's done an incredible job, though. And I know he's even-keeled, ride the wave kind of guy, too, with that FU when he's on the mound. So he's got the mentality, and I don't even need to talk about the stuff. I mean, everyone's seen it all over the internet. That guy has an electric fastball with secondary stuff to back it up.
All right, now this is the question. Everything else, Gary, that I've asked you about, I'll be honest with you, other than your upbringing, your father starting the team, this is the question I've wanted to get to this whole time we've been talking. I am a huge Frank Sinatra fan, have been my entire life. I'm listening to the Phillies game. I have it on, whatever, and I'm like, did I leave my speakers on? Like, do I hear That's Life? And no, it's new Phillies catcher Garrett Stubbs walking to the plate. How did you come to the realization, or how did you come to the decision to have Frank Sinatra, That's Life, as your walk-up music?
Well, it's an incredible song, both by an incredible artist, and the lyrics of the song are great. The lyrics of the song is the reason why I chose it. I actually chose it in 2020 or 2021 was the first time that I had it as my walk-up, kind of after the whole debacle with COVID and everything shutting down. And I just felt like that song specifically, I love old music like that. I know basically all the music that we listen to now has either come from somebody like Frank Sinatra, whether it's the lyrics or the sound. It all comes from people who have already really done it. And now there's a new age of sound that comes from a guy like Frank. And so when I moved over to Philly, I figured, why would I not keep That's Life by Frank Sinatra, not only because of the incredible song that it is, but the fact that he was a Hoboken guy, a Northeast guy, and I figured, we're bringing Frank to Philly, and we're walking up to That's Life. And it seems to have caught on, and people have enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed it the same.
Yeah, there used to be a mural of Frank Sinatra, I think, on Broad and Wharton in South Philly. Yeah, and then they like painted, they like put a building over top of it and a gas station as well or something. It was crazy. But I remember thinking, Frank Sinatra mural. Come on. Yeah. Garrett Stubbs, finally, before we get to our Farzy 5 here, just what are your overall impressions of Philly? What did you know about Philadelphia before you came here? Not just the organization, but the city itself, and kind of what was your welcome to Philadelphia moment?
Well, I had absolutely nothing in my head as far as what Philly would be like. I hadn't heard much. I mean, I'm a West Coast guy. I had been to the Northeast before, both to play and, I'd been to New York City, but I'd never been to Philadelphia. I didn't know too many people other than Chas McCormick on the Astros. He's from Philadelphia. So I heard a little bit from him, but I hadn't heard much else. Now that I'm settled in an apartment, we do only get so many off days. So I feel like there's so much more to explore of Philadelphia that I haven't gotten to. But I got an electric bike, which is actually sitting right next to me.
Nice.
Because one thing that I have learned about Philadelphia is parking is not a thing here. There is nowhere to park. So you're either walking somewhere or riding a bike somewhere. So I bought a bike, and on my off days, I've started to ride to Washington Square. I'm in University City, so gone over to Washington Square, gone to Rittenhouse Square, kind of just roamed around the whole city over that direction. And so I've gotten to know the city a little bit more as I've been here, but I know there's a lot more that I want to see. And if anybody has any Philly cheesesteak recommendations, I have been to, I think it's called Cleaver's in Rittenhouse area. But I'm looking for any Philly food recommendations from anybody. I have a list of a few spots. El Vez is one that I've been to, not a Philly cheesesteak place, but restaurant. I've been to Barclay Prime. I went to Randstead Room for a drink on an off day one time. So I'm trying to pop around, start to get a feel for some of these old school bars that I've walked by. Cool spots, man. They are really cool spots. So I've enjoyed my time.
If you like a nice dive bar, Oscars in Center City, they got PBR on tap. That's all you need to know.
There we go. I'm in.
PBR on tap. And Johnny Cash on the jukebox. So there you go.
Love it.
Yeah, and it's an actual jukebox. It's not like a Playtones or whatever the hell that is.
Through the book.
Exactly.
Through the book.
Exactly.
Good.
Garrett Stubbs, do you mind playing the Farzy 5 with us? You want to take the Farzy 5?
Let's do it.
All right, let's bring in the band real quick here. I know you've been more than generous with your time. Fellas, you want to get it going here? You want to make it happen here? There. Wow, lively today. Lively, fellas. All right, here we go. Garrett Stubbs, first question. Best job before baseball?
Best job before baseball.
Best job you had before baseball?
I had one job before baseball, and it was a real estate development job because I honestly did not think that I was going to be playing professional baseball for as long as I have. So I was a real estate major in college, got an internship my junior to senior year, did not go to summer ball. That was my job other than baseball pretty much my whole life.
Signs you're going to make it to the major leagues as a child. Your father starts a travel baseball team for you.
Yeah.
That might have been a hit. Good start. Question number 2. Go to fast food place.
In-N-Out Burger, man.
Oof.
All day long. And I know we got a lot of East Coasters out here. When I was in Texas, it was not a big fan of that. Whataburger was a huge one there in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what it is here on the East Coast. What do we got here?
We got McDonald's, we got Burger King, we got Shake Shack, if you consider that fast food. We got your Wendy's. We don't have a Jack in the Box. I don't even know where the closest White Castle is, but I know it's like within 2 hours.
Yeah. See, In-N-Out is just a West Coast staple, and it is the go-to no matter what.
I will say this. People always said, you only like it because you don't have it near you.
There you go.
BS. I had it every time I was in California, and I've been in California a bunch.
Good.
Oh, God, it's so amazing. First date deal breaker, Garrett Stubbs. First date deal breaker.
First date deal breaker. I like nice people, man. If you're rude, if you're mean, if you just... I also like positive people, so if you're a negative Nancy, I'm out. I can't do it. It's not for me.
Yeah, I'll just warn you, Philadelphia, we're known for our optimism.
I know. I know it, right? I can hear it in the stadium.
Favorite city to travel to?
So, favorite city to travel to is La Paz, Mexico. I go there every single year. Yep, obscure place. It is actually out in the middle of nowhere. It's called Bahía de los Sueños. It's a desert. I actually shouldn't even say this because I like the fact that it's in the middle of nowhere. But for those listening, it is the most amazing place I've ever been to in my life, and I go there every single year. Unbelievable fishing, a beach basically deserted in the middle of Mexico.
All right.
About as good as it gets for me.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, and then finally, you mentioned the parking situation in Philadelphia. Garrett Stubbs, what makes you beep your horn in traffic?
Man, I went to school in LA. So if you want to talk about traffic, I know traffic. And for me, I'm usually a secondary beeper. If somebody's beeping at me, I'm beeping back at you. As far as the traffic goes, I know people are going to cut each other off, do whatever. If you try to flip me off or beep at me, I'm coming back at you with some beep.
I really like a beep rebuttal. Like,
yeah,
no.
It's a secondary beep.
Right.
I might not start, but I'll keep it going if you want to go there.
I love it. Do you have a bell on your bike that's aggressive too, just in case?
I need one. I need one for some biker traffic. I need the bell to get them back. But usually a biker bell, it's like a hey, how you doing kind of ring. So I'm about that too.
Yeah, it's like almost like you're gonna go get some ice cream or something. It's fantastic.
Yeah, whatever it may be.
Fellas, you guys were fantastic. We can cut. Oh, good job today, boys. Garrett Stubbs, absolute pleasure having you on the show and having this conversation. I wish you nothing but success the rest of the year. Hopefully, we can catch up again down the line, and especially. Best of luck in this Brave series. Keep the positive vibes going from that Phillies clubhouse to the Phillies fan base as well. Welcome to Philadelphia. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, enjoyed my time, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show. Garrett Stubbs joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. I just like the idea of a Major League Baseball catcher going by on an electric bike. Bring. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, and if you want some parking, just go down South Philly. Park anywhere. Those are the rules. Just park anywhere. Is this south of Washington? Oh, he's fine. Yeah. Anyway, my thanks to Garrett Stubbs for coming on. He was fantastic. Really enjoyed that conversation. Hope you guys did as well from the comments. It seems like you guys really enjoyed it. And thanks to our booker, Jason, our man, Jason, who was kind enough to be able to line that up for us. Appreciate it. Hot pursuit of Garrett Stubbs, and really enjoyed that convo. Make sure you guys follow him on the old social media platforms, including, once again, his Twitter profile at Garrett Stubbs. It's made easy, folks. It's made easy. Rothman Orthopedics brings us our fine guest line to people at RothmanOrtho.com. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. The Versus Game app. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that Garrett Stubbs' teammate, Nick Castellanos, hits a home run this month. It would help the Phillies win at least one of these 3 games against the Atlanta Braves here. Here's the Versus Game logo. Check it out for the people watching the show, for the people on the podcast. Here's what you're looking for. A V circled. That's teal, like a light red. That's what you're looking for. In the Google Play Store or in the App Store. Download the Versus Game app to your phone right now and let the games begin. You can answer all the questions with the Farzy Show if you follow at Farzy Show. All the questions, every single one of them, always binary, always yes or no, always this or that. The question right now, will Nick Castellanos hit a home run in the month of June? Yes or no? That's the question. Record-setting numbers, by the way, replied to our question right there, so that's a nice sign. So make sure you go to the Versus Game app right now, download it, and follow the Farzy Show. Answer our questions. How about the people at Freestone Farm CBD? Let me ask you a question. Do you like CBD? Do you enjoy CBD? I'll tell you this right now. You can get 20% off your CBD if you upgrade to Freestone Farm CBD at freestonefarmcbd.com and use promo code Farzy. You get 20% off for a better product. Freestone Farm CBD. It's fantastic. They're very excited, by the way, to show you their all-new strain menu, which is at freestonefarmcbd.com. Oof. How about the tropical tasting Bayox? Mwah! Chef's kiss, folks. Clocks into the chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys are incredible. They grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State as well. With organic inputs and IPM, there's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell, you'll know it's CBD done right. Visit FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump on into the chat check and see how all you guys are doing. Tyvita, first. What's going on, Tyvita? Mickey Diaz, what's popping? Nice to see you. Oh, close second. There you go. Mally, hello, Mally. Tyvita, Mickey, Mally. Good morning, everyone. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Mike Fuji's in. What's up, Fuji? Mickey Diaz. They're professionals. Their performance has to commensurate the pay. If everything hinged on Harper, the team would be in a world of trouble. Just saying. That's I detect optimism, Mickey. I detect optimism. Sean Gillespie, Kyrie's special kind of crazy. That's a way to put it. Mickey Diaz, Kyrie the philosopher. I mean, in all seriousness, like I want to take lines from like Socrates and Sun Tzu, like any great philosopher ever, and just write their words and then attribute it to Kyrie Irving. Like I just think that would drive the point home a little bit. That would drive the point home a little bit easier. Poor guy looks like he barely slept the weekend. Yeah, April, he did not. I honestly felt bad. And he was so awesome. So we booked the interview for 11 o'clock yesterday morning. And like leading up to it, when we booked him, I knew the Phillies had an off day. And I wasn't thinking like, oh, they're going to be coming back from the West Coast, though. AM might be difficult. So I said, here's the times that were available. Let me know. And they came back, I think, with 11 o'clock. And then, as I said, we were leading up to it. I go, that's pretty bold for a West Coast trip. That's pretty bold. So, of course, it ended up not happening. And they were kind enough to say, hey, look, can we do later in the day? I was like, yeah, let's party. So we did that. And he was all apologies when we started. I was like, dude, don't worry about it. You know, we got a pretty easy schedule here at the Farzy show. We take care of business. And he's like, he was so cool. He's so nice. He was just as chill as he came off in the interview, even when the camera wasn't rolling. Well, when the camera wasn't recording, I should say. Savita, good morning again. Baba Boucher likes the get. Thank you. Brother against brother classic. Jim Grassmeter, what's up? Kevin, how you doing? Mike Williams, what's going on? How do you not love him? He was awesome. April seems like a really level-headed kid. Excited to see how good he could get. I hope so. I will say this though: he went to college. He's 20. He's 29. He just turned 29 at the end of May. Gotta love Garrett Stubbs. PJ, you're absolutely right. Mike Williams, hello again. I've never seen such a small catcher. He's done great. Jim Grassmeter said that. Somebody said Mike Williams. Leby was a small dude. Was Leby? I wanted to look that up actually. I was just thinking about Mike Lieberthal the other day, as a matter of fact. Because Mike Lieberthal, his year after, how tall was Mike Lieberthal? Mike Lieberthal, the year after, I think it was the year after his All-Star year. Yeah, 2001. What? It doesn't have his height? He's a professional athlete. How is his height not on his Wikipedia? What the hell's bells? Here I go to Baseball Reference. 6 foot. Okay. Men's. And then how old is Garrett Stubbs? Or old. How tall is Garrett Stubbs? Stubbs says it's all on the hips. I know it's Chubbs. How are you not? Baseball Reference. Why I oughta. Whatever, folks. I promise I know how to Google things. Boomer alert. It's just going to bother me the rest of the day. 5'10". All right. Wow. Sal Fasano reference. Mike Williams. Damn, son. Yeah, blast from the past. Going for the college babes. Mike, I think it's a University City reference. I have never talked to an athlete and then said, yeah, well, I'm out in University City. I'm like, huh? Like Graduate Hospital, I kind of get, because that's at least South Philly, kind of. University City, I used to live in, when I first moved to Philly, we lived in University City, 38 in Hamilton. Yeah, man. Good times. There's a bar called Scooters right behind our house. There were some good times had at Scooters. Anyway. Cleavers is dope. Oh, Cleavers is dope. Excuse me. Mr. Pizza in Olney. You're going to have to ride really far, though. Yeah, it's a long bike ride from University City. We need an In-N-Out burger here so bad. I'll start a franchise. Yeah, they won't do it. They won't come east of the Mississippi for whatever reason. And yes, I have had In-N-Out burger a million times, and it's great every single time. There's an In-N-Out burger in Texas. After a Cowboys game, I drove whatever it was, an hour, maybe 45 minutes, just to go to an In-N-Out burger. Everything about it is so damn good. I'll tell you, you know what? Hold on. Let me say, okay. In 100% real, being 100 with you. Them fry Johns they got? No. The fries are not good at In-N-Out burger, but they're still fried potatoes. So they're still, they suffice. But what they really hit it home with is the toasted bun, the double animal style, and they have a little bin of peppers you can put on your burger. Oof. Yes, please. I have to. Here's my double animal style fries. I get the peppers at the side there, and vanilla milkshake and Coca-Cola. I think that's what they sell, Coca-Cola. Whatever their Coca-Cola is. I don't think it's Pepsi. I think it's Coca-Cola. Anyway. Oh, good times. Good times. I wish Wahlburgers was still here. Oh, did Wahlburgers go bye-bye? They were at the piazza for a second. Mark is totally forsaking Checkers. I went to get Checkers the other day. My wife and I, we were having a really busy day, and we had to get the kids out of the house. So we wanted to take them to like Lowe's. We had some things to get at Lowe's, and I'm like, I'm starving, and I want fast food, and I got a craving for Checkers. And I used to go to the Checkers at Broad and Girard. There's Checkers right there. There's the KFC. There's the Checkers. There's the McDonald's right across the street. It was a haven for fat bastards such as myself. And I would go there all the time in college, the Checkers, and the Checkers isn't there anymore. So all this talk I've been giving about Checkers and going to Checkers with you guys. I got to go probably another 2 miles up Broad Street to go to Checkers. If that's still even around anymore, I don't know. I told you the Checkers I grew up with was the Checkers in Northeast Philly on Knights Road. It was basically Knights Road and Woodhaven, I guess it was. Yeah, going up to like 95 from Woodhaven. You go under Knights Road, but you get off at Knights Road by Our Lady of Calvary into the Franklin Mills Mall, whatever the hell that's called now, the outlets at Philly Mills. I don't know. But there's a Checkers right there for the longest time. And we used to pick up my aunt. My aunt's a nun, and she runs that school. And when we used to pick her up to go down to Baltimore on holidays, I'm telling you, taking you guys through my childhood. We'd pick her up, and we'd like, Mom, can we just stop at Checkers? My brother and I, do we stop at Checkers? Of course, yes, we can stop at Checkers. And now they turned it into like a Dunkin' Donuts gas station or something, John. I don't know. Anyway, I'm working in John today. I feel it. Anyway, Farzy lived in University City up until 2019. Oh, you lived in University City. No, when I first moved into Philadelphia, which was 2002, when I made the trek from Doylestown to Philadelphia, my first house, well, we rented it. Me and five of my buds, and we were all going to Temple, which was stupid. We lived in University City and we were going to Temple, but whatever. It's where we could find a house at that price, but whatever. We lived at 38 in Hamilton in 2002 into 2003. Yeah. It's hard to find Checkers now. I think there is only one out in West Philly. Is that where it is? Mac Liddell, don't just blow by having a nun or an aunt that's a nun. Don't just blow by that story. We have another hour coming. Yeah. Mac, I'll explain it one more time. Max says, I was half listening. Did you used to go to check? Checkers. I'll tell you right now, there was no better smelling car than that one right there. Let me tell you. There you go. All right, we're yep, we froze on Checkers. Mac, your none conversation froze and broke the internet. Anyway, are we back? PJ? All right, good. We're back. Don't know what the hell's going on here. No, it's not your computer, Mac. It's me. It's not you. It's me. Hopefully everyone can pray for my computer. There you go. That was the chat check, everybody. Let's move into our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. First off, let me just say this. Next month, we have some great things planned with Sky Motorcars. Stay tuned. Little teaser for everybody right there. Mac, if you need a prayer, ask your aunt. You're damn right I will. Sky morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Here's what I got. Phillies, 7:05 start time tonight against the Braves. Feels like the Phillies are going to play the rest of their season. The next two weeks are going to be for the rest of the season is how it feels right now. Zach Wheeler gets the ball for the Phillies tonight. Hopefully, we find out about our man Bryce Harper and how much time he'll miss, whether or not he will definitely need surgery. All that will come to fruition. All that will at least be explained probably before the ball game, if not earlier, by Dave Dombrowski at some point. So let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. No pun intended. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My thanks to Garrett Stubbs. My thanks to our man Jason, who did a great job booking him. PJ produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta here doing the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, DestinationRetirement.com from the Steven Singer Studio. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow, hopefully after a Phillies victory. Take it easy.